Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy and today I'm joined with a special guest. How's it going, buddy?
Yo, what's up? Yeehaw to you and yours. How you doing, Krashy?
Dude, I'm doing very well. Spragels is with us in the house, and a couple days ago, I think it's been a couple days ago now, on stream, I was actually designing held items with my stream chat, and we kind of made some unique items. We picked some from Pokemon games and we tried to adapt them and make them interesting, and then I even went on my own and made a battle item. So I'm going to share them with you one at a time, and you have not seen these, you don't know what they are, and we're just going to get your, like, it's like a half reaction video, and I want to like let your theory crafting brain go crazy with it, and we'll see what happens. So
great.
The first item is being sent your way now, and that is going to be the Focus Sash. Now, the Focus Sash is plus 8 SP attack per level at max level 9. So it'll scale between levels 1 through 9, and it'll be a total of 72 SP attack.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice item in terms of SP. The item effect is when the user would otherwise take damage leading to them fainting, have the wearer freeze in place, wrapped in their Focus Sash for 1.5 seconds, after which the user is freed from the Focus Sash with their HP reset to 20% on a 90-second cooldown. So you essentially KO in place. Yes. You can't move. They can see you, but they can't target you. And you're stuck in the sash for 1.5 seconds, after which you come back out and your health is restored up to 20%.
This is a classic sort of MOBA item that you see characters have. Yeah, and it's on that cooldown where they get KO'd and then they're just sitting there and you can't target them. You can't do anything to them. They're just sitting there for a second. This is a very cool idea. And yeah, I like the takeoff Focus Sash from the main game, because isn't it in the main game? And I could be mixing this up with another item, but isn't this the one that says like, they held on by their Focus Sash and they kind of stay there at 1 HP.
Yeah.
Is that what it's like in the mainline games? Yeah.
Yeah, they like survive at like 1 HP. Yeah.
This is perfect. I love that you're comboing it with special attack, because this feels like it's totally set up for Surf Hurricane Cram, Blizzard Ninetales. Now, of course, you could also throw this on Blastoise or something like that. You know, you could put this on Wiggly and then it comes back and it's singing again. So when you come back after the 1.5 seconds, I assume your move cooldowns are ticking this whole time, right? That would be reasonable. So when you come back, you've got your moves again, basically. Yeah, I like this. I'm trying to think of who the most broken... I mean, the most broke is probably Zarina or something. Like, you just put it on that Pokemon. But I'm trying to think of the most broken way to use this, especially in a special attacker sense. But I love this idea. And it feels like, you know... your video, obviously, you made a while back, and then you referenced the other day Chris's video that he recently made about special attacker kind of mage type Pokemon sort of being power crept throughout the game. And I think it's really cool because this sort of solves that problem a little bit, because the biggest issue I feel like with a lot of those mage type Pokemon is they've got one big burst, and if you're able to take them down after that burst, they've essentially done only one thing in an encounter, and this sets you up to at least multiple times throughout the match have one more burst, which could be huge.
Yeah, so from the developer side of things, I made this item directly for mages. Now, of course, the cool thing about it is that you can throw it on some defenders or anybody that's using SP attack, but I've been leaning into this idea for a little bit, even back to my last item concept video of scaling items. And what you see now is you see an item that'll have like a flat, number on it, and that's just what it is the whole game. And that's cool, but those numbers aren't usually super impactful. You only get big numbers from stacking items. So I shot for something weaker than a stacking item. Honestly, it's not even that much weaker than a stacking item. It's a healthy amount weaker than a stacking item, but you have to still...
It would probably, sorry to cut you off, but it would probably, without question, get rid of special attack specs on any Pokemon based on this number. The number's just good enough to where you probably wouldn't stack that way anymore. You just take this item because the benefit of it outside is so good.
Or you run both and drop, like, say, your choice specs.
Oh, yeah.
So the cool thing about choice specs is choice specs has like burst built into it, but like Focus Sash and, say, SP attack specs has like a higher number that would equal, more damage throughout the game. So I really think it could be a really, really interesting one. It scales. I don't know if the cooldown is too short. That's the beauty of these concepts. You can always nerf it or buff it. If 72 SP is too high, we can buff, or we can nerf that down. If the cooldown's too quick, we can nerf it down. So it's just a cool idea. And like you said, you throw this on like a Wiggly, it's at 20% HP, so that's a pretty good amount if you're a tankier Pokemon.
Oh my god, they're gonna put it on Blizzard. What did you do?
I mean, you could put it on Blissey. All right, so let's go ahead and move into the second item. Let me go ahead and shoot this your way. This one was an item that was heavily requested. People were like, oh, you got to look at this item and see what it does, and then make it in the game. So this item is Evilite. Now, Evilite is a really interesting one. So the flat item stats on this is plus 180 HP, plus 20 defense, and plus 20 SP defense. And this item, I put in big bold text, only works on Pokemon that have evolutions. You throw this on Lucario, it's essentially a dead item. So
get ready, Krashy, to start looking up players who have this on their Zeraora, and you're like, how are you running Eviolite on Zeraora?
Listen, it's gonna happen. But the item effect is broken into 3 stages, and there's a weird naming part of this, and I'll have to explain it. But the first stage effect is your first evolution. When you start the game, you're in first stage, and this gives an additional, so this adds on to what the item already has, 750 HP, 80 defense, and 65 SP defense. So levels 1 through whenever you evolve is massive. Like, you are just this tank of a tank. Second stage, and I need to explain this part here in a second, a little bit after this, those numbers actually go down. So where you would have the 750, the 80, the 65, you're going to now lose some of those numbers, and it's going to be plus 400 HP, plus 40 defense, and plus 35 SP defense. And then for the final stage, I didn't want to put third stage or third evolution. We titled it as Unite Move Stage. So the reason why I made this distinction is because of characters that only have 2 evolutions. So for Slowbro specifically, when Slowbro evolves, it goes immediately from first stage benefit to Unite stage benefit. And so this is like a little bit of a balancing tool here, and it gets a little confusing, but we made this decision like as a chat when I was making it on stream to kind of balance the item. So essentially, I mean, as you can tell, early game you're incredibly strong, you hit mid game, you're going to lose some of that benefit, and then later in the game you actually have a pretty weak item. So yeah.
Well, what you've done is you've created an item for Garchomp. So you've made Garchomp, you've tried to fix Garchomp with an item. This is a really cool idea for some of those Pokemon that do struggle for a while and you often don't get center area. I am thinking of something like Garchomp, maybe if Gardevoir, has to play in Path or something like that. You obviously, you wouldn't throw this on Slowbro or Ninetales because they just, they evolve so fast. It's not really going to be that beneficial. But I think on one of those Pokemon that gets stuck for a while that you have to play in either top or bottom lane, this would be a really cool option. The only thing that's tough about this is kind of what would you drop for this item. That's always a question. However, I think it's really good, and it might be the thing that sort of fixes some of those lane Pokemon that have a lot of trouble. Then again, you also might put it on a Machamp and just be the meanest thing in the freaking world.
Yeah, there's definitely room here. I mean, I even something like, because this is something that came to mind when we were making it, is like even something like throwing this on Mamo, because Mamo has such a phenomenal laning phase, and then you're just unkillable Mamo in lane. It's going to snowball your lane, or could snowball your lane, and then you would taper off a little bit. But yeah, so it's interesting. It's kind of meant to be like a tank item, but that's the beauty of it. You could throw it on all rounders. You could maybe leverage it on some of the squishier characters, and it would be interesting.
I mean, how we know how bad Greninja and Cinder are in Path early, but and part of it's because of their secure, right? But what if you were able to take Greninja in Path early and you have enough defense and stuff like that to get really aggressive, so you're using your boosted on a lot of, wild Pokemon and stuff? I don't know. There are some options for this that could be really cool, especially for those Pokemon that struggle a lot in lane.
Yep. So that's our second item. Now, the third and last held item that we have, we actually had to rebrand this one because it was based on an idea that I had first, and then we had to kind of find the item that went with it. And so this one, conceptually, it may be a little weird, and I don't even remember what I started with, but I used 2 different held items first, and then we landed on this one. This item is going to be Metronome. So Metronome is it's meant to be a hybrid item, so it has plus 18 attack and plus 24 SP attack, so you could use this on basically anybody you wanted to, and the item effect is super unique. It increases the damage of every third ability plus 6%. So the wording on that is very particular. Increases the damage, So it would kind of be like a Queenly Majesty, but like for anyone. And instead of getting like an extra ability, it's going to be like a boosted auto, but it's a boosted ability. So, and you have to manage this. If you're over spamming your abilities and not proccing it properly and using it for damage, then that's on you. But yeah.
Right. If you use this on Sing Wiggly, you could blow it on a Sing instead of a Dazzling Gleam, even though that's probably not the intent for this item to put on a Pokemon like that. But yeah, that's really cool, especially a Pokemon that's using abilities a lot. Like, think about a Pokemon like, I don't know, Dive Cramorant or Zarina or something like that. Like, whichever ability it hits, you're just, one of my 3 stomps is like boom, boom, boom. One of them gets the extra damage on there. This is a really cool idea, and it could be run on a lot of Pokemon, and you could at least, when you see this on your random solo queue teammates, you're like, well, at least it works on everything.
Yeah.
I can't get mad that they have it on Zeraora, because one time it might work for their wild charge, and that's pretty brutal.
Yeah, that was definitely the goal. And 18 attack and 24 SP attack are actually just mirrored stats from some of the other items that are already in the game. So it's like I'm trying to keep it stat-wise in line and then giving it a little bit of damage. And same thing, we could always nerf those numbers if it's maybe the item effect is too good. We could nerf that down. But I wanted to go for something unique, and I've been trying to hit items that either scale or feel a little bit more universal, so there's less of that margin for error for the item. So the last item, now this is a battle item, and I have found that making battle items for Unite is actually really hard, because unlike held items, you only get one. So it's like it has to be really, really valuable. And this one, I'm going to go ahead and say, I don't actually think this one's too exciting, but I think if you kind of open your mind past just what it says and what it would do, you could think of some really cool stuff for it. So this is very specific. This battle item is TM30 Teleport. And so what this does is it's a hyperspace hole for an individual user. It allows the user to teleport to any existing ally goal on a 90-second cooldown. So I'm mirroring the long cooldown of Goal Getter, because that is the longest battle item cooldown we have in the game. And essentially, if you have a goal up, you can teleport to it.
That's, first off, I want to say I think it's awesome that you put a TM in here. That's a really cool idea, because we don't have TMs in the game. So that's a really cool way of looking at that, even though every Pokemon has like HM, they have Surf.
Yeah.
But that's a really cool way of looking at a battle item right there. And of course, I'm always interested in something that in some way makes us less dependent on Hoopa in some respects. So, hyperspace hole letting you teleport from top to bottom is really big. Competitively, Hoopa is just insane. But what if a team just didn't want to run it, and you let your top path Pokemon or 2 Pokemon on the team have teleport, and they could just use that to move around the map in some pretty exciting ways? Also, I mean, imagine the strategy here with, going for a full zap flip, get it or not, running to the enemy base, scoring, and then teleporting back or something like that. There are some really cool options that you could set up with this item. I think this is really exciting.
Yeah. Now, so here's where, we have to kind of pull ourselves from Pokemon, right? Because we would be giving teleport to every Pokemon. Or potentially, and that's weird, doesn't exist, not real. But that's where the fun of Pokemon Unite can kind of take some liberties to just do some unique things where, obviously this wouldn't really work in Pokemon, but could be really interesting. The other reason why I decided to do this is because in other MOBAs, especially like League of Legends, I think other MOBAs have it as well, teleport as like a summoner spell or like a battle item, it's actually pretty common. It's something that happens a lot. So I felt like, let's lean into MOBA here and maybe pull back on Pokemon a little bit. But also, the final part about this last one is, in a world where we have a pick ban phase.
In a world
where there's a pick ban phase, there is no hyperspace.
Matchmaking is fixed. There's a pick ban phase. Krashy is buying every Hollowware. In a world.
So yeah, I just wanted to lean MOBA. I wanted to be like counter Hoopa, because maybe there's a game where Hoopa's banned or not picked. I just wanted to make something fun. So yeah, those are my 4 items.
I love it. The only thing I'll say, first off, on the metronome, my brain, while we were talking about it for a sec, I thought, oh man, put this on Mystical Fire Delphox. You are just hitting so often with those abilities. That would be so cool for metronome. I love all these. They're great. I think Focus Sash is really nice for mages for sure. It lets them get another cast in. Evilite it has that nice It has that nice synergy with some of the Pokemon that really struggle in lane. Teleport, a TM inside the game. Mwah! The only thing I'm furious at you for is you haven't brought me in to talk about a stacking item. How dare you? You should have an item that stacks. How dare you? But yeah, these are great, man. These are great.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for giving your reaction and review of my items that I decided to come up with. I'm a big, theory craft head. We're theory craft heads. That's what we like to do. So we hope to see some future held items and battle items and things come to the game. But friends, thank you all so much for watching. Leave a like on the video. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Because again, I can hear it now. Like, Krashy, that item is broken. And I love it. I appreciate it. Yeah, get your reload in there. Friends.
It worked.
It worked. Friends, thank you so much for watching. As always, be sure to be kind to one another. Tell someone you love them. And I'll see you on the next video.
Bye.